And it's the strength of God is in you that makes you God. Automatic. Automatic. You can shake your head, yes, you can shake your head, no. But sit down and ask yourself that question. What gives you the strength to get up the next day with the energy that exists inside you? Thought that you're carrying on yourself. That's the best part. But I just wanted you all to check out Psalms 82, verse 5, in the King James Version. The Two-Way Version is verse 6. Hey. On the day of culture, man, I kind of enjoyed that. Where that young brother go, man? Yeah, where he go, man? I kind of enjoyed his teaching today, man. But that gives you the strength, man, of what we about. The strength and power, how he brought it out of the street and back inside. That's the same thing we've been talking about for years, trying to get back out there in the street. That's just what he did. So I was there out there with him when he snatched them up there. You know. But that's the best way to teach. You understand? We old timers, we know this stuff. Them young brothers don't know it. That's what we need. And in this day and time, they need it more in this day and time than we need it in our day and time. Because the devil is out to get us. He's going to kill us. And it's our job to say,
Peace. I'm going to be real brief because I'm not going to be too long, but I would like to make one correction on Devon. That cross was not exactly around the neck.
no, nobody. Hey. Those who don't know me, my name is Peter Vaughn. The order of the day is culture of freedom. See, I like to say, instead of culture of freedom, I like to say culture of freedom. Because in this culture here, we have the freedom of expression. We have the freedom to manifest. You know, what we draw up in our studies, you know, it's a manifestation, even if it's right or wrong. Because the cycles of the truth is going to be made born, and we know that someone within the cycle is always going to correct us, even if we is wrong. And when we deal with today, the order of the day, which is culture, we ask ourselves, what is culture? Culture is a way of life. It's what people share in common. Be it language, be it name, you know, different tongues. It's a custom, a way people do things. Like we have a culture, you know, that's different from how other people do things. And that's the duty of the nation of God to establish a set culture. You know, like having our old holidays or whatever. You know, that's all about like every first Sunday of the month, every second Sunday of the month, is from third to fourth Sunday of the month, we have Parliament. That's a part of our culture. This is what we do. It's like a ritual, something that we do on a constant basis, you know. Now, in order to establish this culture, we have to put in work. We have to build. There's to constantly build, lay the groundwork. Well, basically, the Father laid the groundwork, but it's up to us to build on the foundation that was laid by Him to continue the culture. You know, because if no one's teaching, the culture can't grow. And I was listening to Bouchard talking to the youngest now. And that's the, well, I'm not to tell on myself too. You know, by dealing with 85% and having seed by 85%, the culture can't grow that way. Because when you got two different, you know, mindsets within the house, one bear witness that God is in the sky. Once teaching the black man is God, you know, it's going to cause a conflict of interest within the home. You're going to have two different understandings. The seeds will become, you know, confused. Because one individual saying the black man is God, the other individual teaching the baby, nah, God is in the sky, you know. And I know that. Because my daughter right there, we doing it all the time, you know, because of what her mother would tell her, you know. Conflict to what I teach, you know. That's the reality of it. Like I said, see, a family that builds together stays together. When you got two different mindsets, it just can't work. And the culture cannot be perpetuated that way. You know? Because, now, our job is to teach the baby. Now, we're going to teach the baby, and when I die, no more father figures coming up under my line. You know, if I'm not planting or teaching the baby, that's establishing the culture. I was in the camp. I was in the camp with a Muslim from Africa. I said, how long have you been a Muslim? He said, I've been a Muslim all my life. He said, my father was a Muslim. His father was a Muslim. His father was a Muslim. You know, that's deep. And that's how I want to see one day my kids, my great-grand, you know, manifesting this reality. My great-great-grand teaching this truth. But it can't happen if we don't, you know, teach the young, you know. Plant the knowledge within the young. Plant the seed, nurture it, and watch the seed grow. You know. That's why today's mathematics is culture. We're establishing and building a culture, especially in today's society, because you have so many distractions today. You know, so it's kind of hard. Because individuals, it ain't like when I was young, when I heard the truth. You know, I ran towards it. Nowadays, it's kind of hard. Individuals are not trying to accept this reality. Because I heard one Dr. Ray Higgins say that you have individuals who will believe things that can't be proven. But he will dispute things that can be proven. Regardless of how much facts you present and put out there. Because we've been indoctrinated, we've been programmed to constantly believe things that we cannot prove. So, regardless of how much truth you speak to an individual, they're going to shut it down. Because this is how they've been programmed to think. You know? But that don't mean we have to stop, because we can't stop. We have to constantly build, constantly teach this truth, constantly put it out there, because we have a nation to build. We have a nation to build, and we got a lot of young just misguided within today's society. Like y'all was speaking to the young today. You know, if you look at the young today, in society. When I was coming up, we didn't wear pink. Nowadays, you see guys walking around with hot pink shirts on, you know, and the black man is starting to be made feminine. He's being demasculinized. And before our eyes, he's watching the black man. You know, when I was coming up, if a man wore one earring, it was in his left ear. He didn't wear two. Nowadays, he got 2 and 3 in all ears with a hot pink shirt on. You know, context here today. I mean, just look at the culture and look at what it's doing to our young today. Just look at what it's doing to our young. It's making our job hard. With the videos, what's being portrayed, who the young look up to, you know, all of this is misleading our youth. That's why the Father said we have a heavy task in front of us, because we have to be able to see the future through the stars. And the way these young is doing today, we can say with surety that we have no future by looking at the young today. You know, a lot. I don't know if he said it, but I heard that when Long shot the first time, he said, if I die, who's going to save the baby? You heard that, guy? Who heard that? And that's true. If the 5 and 6 stop teaching, which we did at one time, and this is the product and the effect of us, you know, when we stop teaching, things went haywire. So if the 5 and 6 stop teaching, what's going to happen? Things are only going to get worse. See, I was taught when a man mentality changed, his ways of actions to follow suit. See, with individuals nowadays, when they get this knowledge of self, they want to play both sides from the middle. They want to be in the dead world, so they still want to be accepted by their peers in that world, and they want to be amongst this cycle. You know? That's the problem. You know, we have to take a stand on certain things. Like individuals we know that's doing wrong in the community, that's wearing this flag, that's misrepresenting us. You know, that we know individuals who selling drugs, who doing anything negative to bring down the community. You know, we have to start speaking on it. We have to start condemning certain things. We have to start manifesting what we stand for, what we don't stand for. We don't advocate the using or the selling of drugs. We don't advocate that. You know, we have to really put that out there. You know, I mean, just for the individual to see it for themselves, but a lot of people think that that's what the God's going to advocate. If we advocate smoking and drinking, it don't make a difference. You know, if you do that, those who come amongst the cipher, you know, and teach it to black men, it's got to be still accepted. See, righteousness is determined by acts and deeds. It ain't a name that make it. A name don't make nobody righteous. It's your actions, the way you carry yourself, the things you do. That's what makes an individual righteous. You know? But I got out of time, that's what we used to say. Yo, God, are you righteous? We used to always ask each other, or we see an individual, we would ask, are you righteous? You know? Because just declaring to the world that you're God, you got to know that all eyes are on you all the time. You're telling the people you're God. There is no higher force or higher intelligence in the universe. It's you, especially the black man. You know, I mean, we study all this science, all this comedic science. You know, we study the history of the ancient Egyptians, all this, the Ethiopians, all this history to tell us about our greatness. But do we learn from that? I mean, that's why a lot of us today can't even accept that these people, you know, was a part of us. Because it looked like, you know, it was so distant from them people there. You know, like, and we started questioning ourselves. Because the way the black man looked up to the white man today, a lot of us don't want to admit it, but we still think deep in our subconscious that he's superior intellectually. We still look towards the white race for a lot of things to govern us. We won't outright come out and say it, but it's manifested by the things that we do. You know, when we come into the knowledge of ourselves, our job is to study and to come in tune with ourselves, with our community, our family, and see what can we do to uplift our community, the black man, the black woman, you know, and we get the bills so we can bring something to the table so other individuals can respect us. You know, we have to be a force to be reckoned with. We have to be a force to be reckoned with, you know. The white man is the devil. A lot of us is starting to fall asleep to that today. You know, we being rocked to sleep with all this liberalism that the white people is portraying. You know, we start to think that because a white person look out for us, oh, he ain't the devil no more. But you gotta understand, his system was put in place. You know, it was already set in place. And though these whites today may not have been the ones who kept us in bondage, but they are the ones who reap the benefit of their forefathers who kept us in bondage. So they don't have to outright do it themselves anymore. Because we've been programmed and broken down already. That they don't have to worry about us. If you wear niggas as dogs, you know, dogs are pack animals. You know, dogs ain't to be in nobody's home or anything like that. Dogs roam the wild. But if you take a dog and you change his nature, you break him down, you put a chain on his neck, you're training him, you're feeding him. Now, as soon as you take the chain off, that dog, he's not going to run away. Because he's been programmed, and he's been trained to look at you as his master. And that's how we do with the white man. You know, they took the chain off our legs, our necks. We ain't running nowhere. Because when they initiated the Emancipation Proclamation, told the black people they were free, black people rolled back on the plantation because they had nothing. They had no knowledge. They couldn't do nothing for themselves. They had to come back to the very individuals who enslaved them. They had to come back and beg them for jobs. You know? And we watching this take place today. Why did we run y'all pulling this slaves that was from the Buddhist civilization over the hot radiant desert? Why? We watching this unfold today. You know, this lesson, see, a lesson is something you learn and you study and you learn from that lesson. You know, it's like if your child do something and you beat his hand, tell him don't do it no more. You're teaching that child a lesson. That's what the 120 was for us. It was a lesson. Some things in there is, metaphorically speaking, allegorically speaking, but you have to get the best part from it. You know? So, you know, it's the story that's being told, the principle of the lesson that you have to extract. The principle from it. We see the white man now still coming amongst us, causing trouble amongst the righteous people. Still causing trouble amongst the righteous people. Look at our community. Look at the death rate. Look at it. Our young whose blood is spilled every day in the streets. It's our young. And in my neighborhood, I live in Bed South, Brooklyn. You got cops patrolling all over. On every corner, they got, they got their big wagons set up. And I was watching, even in East New York, and I was watching that. I said, that's a shame. You know why? Because they got to stop us from hurting ourselves, to keep us from doing destruction to ourselves. So they got to babysit us. But you go to white neighborhoods, you don't see it. And we advocate that we teach civilization to others. Somebody's fooling who? Somebody's fooling who? You know? I mean, just because we live in like a poor neighborhood, it doesn't have to be poor. It doesn't have to be poor. If you got just 2 pair of pants, don't mean you have to be dirty. As long as you keep them clean. It's just like keeping your community clean. See, individuals have a ghetto mindset. It's the mindset. And if it's within, it begins to manifest itself without. And this is why. I read something the other day where how black kids are being made fun of their names. like Shatika and names like that, where black kids aren't even proud to honor those names. They got individuals plant in their heads that those names are ghetto names. Those names are for people who live in poor neighborhoods. And this is what's being portrayed today. And black people, some of them are trying to stay away from the names because what it represents to them now. It means that you grew up in the project to have a name like that. See, we keep letting others define our reality for us. We got to define our own reality and stop trying to live, according to somebody else's plan for us. We have to plan for ourselves. Like I said again, we got to start setting our own holidays, whatever it may be in place. We trying to break away from his society. We trying to break away from that. But the only way we can do this is when we really know who the enemy is. We got to really know who it is who's holding us down. I mean, we know we got black on black crime all in the neighborhood. We know it's a black man killing another black man. We know that.
I didn't even get it.
I was reading around the other day that individuals started dispute in a letter written by Willie Lynch. Brothers were saying that that's a made-up documentation. Who cares? It's true. Regardless whether it was made up, somebody could have made it up in the creative writing class. It don't make a difference. We can see it visually, live and living color, whether it was made up or not. We can see that taking place. Whether it took place then, we can see it now. Sometimes individuals question the wrong thing. Like I remember when individuals start to question Alex Kelly on Root. They say he lied about a lot of that stuff he wrote. That he fabricated that. But regardless of whether he lied or not, that took place somewhere. It happened. It may not happen to him and his family, but we know it took place. All of us got a story to tell. This is, we have to come together to build this culture, make it stronger. So, like I said again, it can be a force to be reckoned with. I'm going to build some more behind the field announcements to make, but I have to wait for my teacher to come. So on that note, I'm going to say peace. Hey.
Can I take the gun, Mommy? No. Yes, take the gun. Take the gun. Dad, you were to get the whole thing. I thought
Hey.
For those who don't know me, my name is Lord Ross. Great. I see today my culture free. I see culture is your way of life. Everything that you do, it's your culture. I've been taking, when I like to build, I like to come and make history to give people a sense of culture. Because culture is simple. That's why mathematics is a culture of food. Give us an alphabet, wisdom that is victory. When a race invades another race.
Elegant. Sorry, get over here. Come, now.
The first thing they do is to watch out the culture of that race. When we acknowledge history. Everywhere. Now, there's a big places among our ancestors that they didn't take. One place they didn't take the culture away from them. it was in the Caribbean and Haiti. For some reason, the devil uses different strategies, to control people. Over here, like Alabama, Mississippi, and the South, they decide to take the culture of the people, take the name of people away to defy them, so they will, get more from them. They like take different, black people from different tribes, to put them together so they could communicate. Like our ancestors from the plantation and from the field, trust each other. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard for them to bring about, some form of revolution. But in Haiti, they decide to keep their culture. They did practice the voodoo, play the drums, things like that. So they figure if they keep the family, that's what I'm saying, different strategy that the devil needs. Now when I'm speaking about the devil, I heard some people have problems because probably just it's not political incorrect to call the devil devil. I don't see it like that. Devil is devil from you want to now, he's a devil. Our first degree tells us who we are. We are the original people, we're the Asiatic people, we the maker, owner, the cream of the planet Earth, Father, civilization, God of the universe. The second degree tells you who is the color king. The color is the Caucasian white man, Yakub, the devil of the planet Earth. So he's the devil. So when I'm speaking about the devil, that's what I call him his name. That's what he is. Point blank. No compromise. Yeah, so the devil used different strategies. As I said, he kept these people in Haiti together because he figured if they stick together, he will get more from them. Right? Now you have in South America, and Brazil, in the mountain of Palmari. So a lot of slaves are ancestors along the way. They went to the mountain and built what you call some form of city state. In the mountain, they become what you call independent. And they kept, so-called today African culture. Right? So they kept the culture. And also in Jamaica, the Maroon in Jamaica, they ran away also to the mountain. Right? So they kept their culture. Until today, not anyone can go in there. They move the room. So they used to come down in the city in Kingston at that time to wipe out, because the devil had. Time to time. Because this is to show you, this is 3 places, they have their own culture that will give the devil a hard time. In Palmale, it's about 300-400 years. The devil could not touch them in Palmale. Only one of the king called Gangazumba, compromised, with the devil. So that's why they become weak. So that's why the devil invade them, things like that. But he took the devil back 400 years. The devil could not touch him. So in Jamaica, the Maroon, the devil never really could go over there in that mountain. Now in Haiti, they had what you call a revolution. So they could communicate. That's the difference between our ancestors from over here and our ancestors from down south. When Nat Turner used to cut the head, it's big. By the time Nat Turner will go to a plantation, cut the head, they will wait. They will call, for help to hurt. Because it's a big place. You know what I'm saying? So over there, Haiti, smaller place, they could organize more that revolution. And also, too, they could communicate with each other because they spoke one language and they had one culture. That's the only reason, that's the reason. So we, then you know that in Haiti in 1804, they could organize that revolution and they caught all the devil heads. From the babies to the mother and the father. No compromise. And the name in Haiti, that is well for you to know. Most people talking about Toussaint Louverture. I heard many of my brothers, among the gods, the nation of God, the earth, they be speaking about Toussaint Louverture. Even among you, when I go on a lecture, many black people, doctor or conscious, the first thing that said is Toussaint Louverture. But you know something? The real revolutionary at that time who didn't compromise with the devil was Dessalines, was Macandal, was Bookman. And they have the sister also that they don't mention. For some reason, I don't know why, they don't mention the sister in that revolution. You have the sister who was mean, called Sister Dessalines, who was no joke. And Sister Angelique, who was no joke. But too bad that they had to accept the devil to come and back, you know what I'm saying, to enslave them mentally. But they give up their culture. And they accept what you call the devil culture. I'm talking Haiti. So that's the main problem they have today. You know, many in our nation, we have problems like calling themselves revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. When you got knowledge, wisdom, understanding of yourself, that you are able to take yourself from that mental death, you are a revolutionary on a mental level. You know, and a lot of things too, we confuse, you know, between, you know, revolution. We have a confusion, we have a confusion between revolution and what you call uprising. You know, or rebellion. There's a two big difference. Revolution means to rock the system completely. To rock the system completely. To bring your own system. What we're doing right now, God and earth, that's a real revolution. We are doing mental revolution. Then to bring up a culture. To take the devil into hell and the very live which he is. That's a real revolution. You know, uprising, rebellion is when you dissatisfied the way the system is working, injustice was being done, and you go in the street to ask for justice. Like you go on the street, no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. A lot of our movie stars, you know, been doing in the street. I'm not going to call no name. You know, that's rebellion. And most of the time, rebellion, people who participate in civil rights leaders, human rights leaders, most of the time, they become compromised with the system. Because it's not about revolution. They always arrange themselves a way, to compromise with the system, because when they get what they want from the things you think, from the system, you don't have nothing from them. If they shot Amadou Diallo 40-something times, the movie stars on the street. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. But they come to a time when the tension wants them to shut them up. They go under the table, hand touching hands, and you don't have nothing. Because they was angry because the system shot Amadou Diallo. But it's not what you call revolution. Revolution means, I said again, is to change the whole system completely. Now, you have a revolution, this is to show you about culture. Concentrate. You have it in China. See, I like to go to history to make my point. This is me. That's the way I do it. I like to go study history. That's the way I do it. Lay my facts, on the table. Like you have a wind shot. There's what you call a revolution in China. What you call the blood sucker was sucking the blood of the people. And the people become dissatisfied. A wind shot, to have a revolution, you got to have coordination and direction. So people were dissatisfied, right? So Winshaw had direction and he had coordination. So the revolution was successful. You understand? So that shows what you call the royal people. But after a certain time, what happened? So what he didn't do, he didn't bring a culture. Today mathematics is culture. He didn't bring a culture among the people. While the Turkey army went over there, the people, because he didn't bring a culture, a stranger could come among the people. You understand that compromising because they didn't have a culture. Anybody could come among them, a culture, thing like that. Mingle with them, thing like that. And the Turkish army, went in and overthrew Winshaw again. To the royal people get them power again. Now, Mao Zedong was watching. He said, oh, shut. Winshaw has coordination. He had direction. He overthrew him. Then he changed. He said, thou, the culture did not change. What he did the same thing. He applied coordination and direction. Then what he did, when he finished, he changed the culture of the people. He changed the culture of the people. Then what he did, he closed the gate. No stranger could get in, and he changed the culture of the people until what? Mount Station went back to Africa. They could not, overthrow Mao Zedong because he brought them what? A culture. Myself, I am detoxified my mind I am detoxifying my way of life. I'm not blaming no. Don't take me wrong. But I've been in the nation almost right now for 25 years. You know. And a lot of things, when I deal with God and earth, I always say that we take things on face value. Because we've been calling ourselves, our culture is like God. According to us, many of us, as long as we are not a homo, we don't eat pork, we righteous. Our culture is like God. And we have been satisfied with that for many, many years. But now that my wisdom is, it's very important what I'm saying. It's very important what I'm saying. Because a lot of devil hate over. Don't you know that? They're not the devil. A lot of devil don't eat pork. Don't you know that? So as long as you don't eat pork, you are the homo that can do righteous. Stop following my God. You know something, God? That means, you know what we acknowledge? This is the thing I've been sitting home. I'm taking this thing 24 hours. I've been taking all night. Sometimes I don't sleep. I don't sleep sometimes. That's the only thing I've been taking. So that means when a person is not a homo, he don't eat pork. Any devil can come with all this toxicity among us. I watching sometimes I watching that a white devil sometimes will call themselves God. You know, things like that come among us. And all our children around, our earth is around, and the beast cannot even open his eyes. All toxicity can come among us. If our culture is divine, just and true, how anybody with toxicity, anybody heroin, anything can come among us in our culture and be comfortable. Something got to be wrong. Can come among us in our cycle by the school in Mecca, by a lot of places in Medina, can come in our cycle and people. So this is to show you, when we're talking about a divine culture, a culture that we reserve, you know, you say cultural freedom, to free ourselves from that toxic culture. You know what I'm saying? Only allow us to take the devil in your head and the very near culture. It's not just be a homo or a lot of us too. I heard before people say today is a political incorrect to call the devil a devil. Mosquitoes is mosquitoes. When mosquitoes bite you, you say, oh shit, mosquito bite me. But you change the name of mosquitoes? It's not a political incorrect for the mosquito. Because the devil doing the same thing he's been doing since year one until today. That's what he was made to do. He's not going to change. He's not going to change. That's how he was made. And I heard that people say that if you call the devil, you give him power. It's not right. Your job as a civilized man or civilized woman, right, is to expose yourself. Say who you are. That's the duty of a civilized man. That's the duty of civilized